So yes, we're doing Godzillas today on the toy box. Now I know I'm a huge Godzilla freak, but there's no reason for me to be biased. I'm just going to do this as straight as possible and not, well, I mean, the other thing about, let's just do it, okay? Okay, we're going to do this in weight class, starting off with little cuties, the mid-card guys, and big dick oh jeez. Okay, we're gonna start off small. There's these little tiny Godzilla collectibles you can find. They're not that big, and I enjoy them for the most part. There's a lot you can get. This seems to be an original 1954 Gojira. Really nice fan gave this to Wooly at Evo and said to pass it on to me. So he's in mid-toothpaste blast. It kind of looks like, kind of light other guys on fire there. That's an 80s, 90s little Godzilla guy. His spines are kind of colored incorrectly, but that's fine. It adds to the mystique of him. And then, of course... Hey, get out of here! And then, of course, you have the Legendary's Godzilla. These are not the most detailed things you can find, but they don't take up a lot of space, and they're kind of neat. So, if I see a cool one, I'll collect it. This guy isn't so cool. Then after that, you can go up a little bit in scale. These are kind of more the collectible in-the-box figures that you don't know what you're going to get inside. This is a Godzilla from Final Wars, I believe. You can kind of tell from his distinctive gait and little tiny baby Godzilla ears on either side. That's the distinctive trademarks of Final Wars Godzilla, folks. And then, of course, you have another Godzilla from Legendary's movie. Now, if you see any of these in a little trading box, they're worth picking up if you're a fledgling Goji fan. This one is pretty detailed for the amount of size that you're getting there, so they're not that bad. Now, sometimes you might get kind of a little knockoff. I don't quite know where this guy hails from. This is also supposed to be Legendary's Godzilla, and honestly, he looks a little odd compared to that one. He has a different color. They're kind of doing the mambo over here. And his spines are a different shape. And he's got this weird orange eye that freaks me out. Yeah, look at these guys. Godzilla babies! Japan actually really seemed to dig Godzilla 2014's design. There's a lot of collectibles of him from Japan. He's a comparable rival to Gon in this. Oh, he looks so cool. And there you have a Muto. Mutos are not quite as popular in Japan. They didn't really dig their designs. But these are cute little guys. There's a few variants on them you can get in slightly different poses. And if you see them in a store, I think they're worth picking up. Very, very cutie booties, these guys. Then you have others that are not so cute. Like, oh, no. Oh, God. It's you. Oh, this is one of my personal favorites. I believe I got this in the mail bag years ago now it's been. And I don't know where this really comes from. I've never seen anything like it in another store or at a con. It's supposed to be, Godzilla from Giant Monsters All Out Attack. He's got the milky white eyes going on. The design is pretty much echoing that. And he hates this fucking lighthouse. He just hates it. Didn't know it at the time when I got it, but I was just fumbling around with it at my desk one day, and then this happened. That's so awesome. And then there's this weird guy. He's kind of like Burning Godzilla. The little burn marks are kind of replaced by these minty green translucent gel packs he has installed in his fucking muscles. I don't really get this guy. His spines are also another matter altogether. Don't really understand why this was created, but again, he's a neat little guy. His face is a little weird. Oh god, it's goofy as fuck. 1985, The Return of Godzilla. This is from the mid-80s movie. This one is by NECA. They made a bunch of them in short order. And yeah, he's kind of like your basic Godzilla figure. Not the most well-loved design out of all Godzillas. You can see he's just kind of plain, stout. His face kind of scary, but also doofy as fuck. You can see he's kind of got the thunder thighs going. And they also give all their Godzilla figures this glossy finish, which I'm not a super fan of. I think in the movies, yeah, it's trying to replicate the movie look. That's fine. I kind of get it. Godzilla does appear very, like, scaly, and water comes off his scales in a certain way, reflects light. But for figures, I just think it looks maybe slightly a bit more cheap than some of the other figures we'll be looking at. Grrr. Grrr. Bleh. Alright, that about does it for that guy. So how many more do we... Oh, God. Oh, shit. It's NES Godzilla. This is also made by NECA and uses the mold for their Godzilla from 1985, as you can see. But he's recolored and does have some slight differences, like his dorsal fins. This is a really cool figure. A lot of people are familiar with NECA's work on their video game appearance line, and this is meant to invoke the sprite from Godzilla NES. It's a pretty neat one. Lots of people were telling me on Twitter and stuff when this guy came out, and yeah, I kind of had to have him. They're really cool, and I really like the attention to detail. They're trying to replicate, like, you know, sprite-based coloring with a little bit of pixels. A neat figure, and certainly different enough from Godzilla 1985 to make him worth collecting. Classical rust bucket Mecha Godzilla from the 70s. This is a really basic figure, has very little articulation, but I mean, he's a robot. Can his head kind of spin around? It can, just like how this Mecha Godzilla design should be able to. Here is NECA's legendary 2014 Godzilla. I was quick to get this once the movie came out, because there was a lot of Godzilla collectibles that year, so I was glad to get them. We're going to see that Namco Bandai made a lot of this similar Godzilla scale figures. We're going to be comparing them a little bit, but again, you can see kind of that glossy sheen on him that, you know, when you actually have this figure right in front of you in real life, it does kind of look a little cheap, like I mentioned before. Hey, I always, these Godzilla designs, older ones, always make me laugh just because they look a little goofy. This is a basic plastic collectible I got at a con, I believe. You know, nothing too special, but it is of a very, you know, not typical. You don't really see the Godzilla 1954 version that often. Yeah, he's fine. Let him pass. I like this sassy swirl on his tail, though. Look at that. Oh. You know he likes to party. Look at that sassy tail swirl. You work that shit. Thanks for cheering me on. Oh shit, we got burning red legendary Godzilla. So this is a Japanese exclusive. This is by Namco Bandai's kind of partnership with SH Monster line. This is a kind of baked by the sun Godzilla. This is supposed to invoke the posters that Legendary made. You know, the ones where it's all fiery and shit, and he's usually seen from this angle. That's what they're trying to invoke here, and I think it fucking works. This is a really, really cool one. I'm sure you can't tell the really, really tiny details, but his sculpt feels awesome. He feels very scaly and craggy. It does not use the kind of glossy finish that they put on the NECA versions. I think there's a lot more detail in his spines. I think his face looks a bit cooler. He has a lot of great useful articulation. And what's interesting is that they chose a different sort of foot sculpt. If you recall, the Legendary version has these really stumpy tree trunk-like legs, and his claws are much bigger in this version. I guess Japan just prefers that sort of stuff. So you can see here, we got the red Japanese Godzilla, or the red Japanese-American Godzilla on the right. You can see kind of these stumpier little legs. The claws really stand out in this one. I guess Japan was just like, fuck it, we can improve on that shit. And he's just like, oh, but my feet. And they're like, no. He's like, oh. You can see even the dorsal fins are much more jagged and sharp in the Japanese-made one, whereas they're a little more movie-accurate, but, you know, just kind of a bit more smoother rock-like formation. This is kind of like a neat combination of East meets West. Even the head sculpt is a bit slightly different. He's got more kind of bumpy spikes on the top, a little more detail around the cheeks, and this one just looks kind of crappy compared to this awesome one. Really glad this did cost me though. This came with the Japanese Blu-ray like special edition of the movie, and he came with it, so it was not inexpensive. And I don't think you can find this one anywhere else sold outside. You know, maybe on eBay, but this is a really cool, like, unique guy. I'm really glad to have him. Oh shit! Now we're getting deep into the Millennium stuff. This is by SH MonsterArts. This is, I believe, Godzilla from either, you know, Godzilla 2000 or Tokyo SOS. Well, one of those. You can tell from the very distinctive dorsal design. If you see this stuff, you always know that you're looking at a Millennium era Godzilla. This figure is also one of my big favorites of the kind of 6 to 7 inch scale. A lot of detail on this guy. Looks great from almost every angle. Has a lot of great articulation. Again, doesn't use that glossy finish I like shitting on. So I just kind of prefer the way that they handle this scale of Godzilla MonsterArts. They do a really good job. One of my big favorites, like I said. If you see this guy, it's not going to be inexpensive, but he's totally worth it. NECA comes in with 80s, 90s Heisei Godzilla. Always don't know how to pronounce that. You can tell it's by NECA because, again, that glossy design. But, I mean, it actually kind of works more with this era of Godzilla. This one's always fucking crashing out of the water and always fucking pissed off. So, when I think about this particular design, he always appears wet in my mind's eye. Yes, you can isolate that sound clip if you like. You can see he kind of has a distinctive dorsal design. This era of Godzilla stands out from the Millennium one quite a bit. You know, this is again a really, you know, good figure for the amount of that you're going to be paying for it. These are usually $20 or less. The NECA versions do. So if you're ever wanting to collect Godzilla figures, NECA is always a good bet. They're the least expensive, and you know, they're comparable in articulation and overall sculpt that the MonsterArt line does. He has a lot of chunky articulation around the arms here that kind of doesn't look super great. You can also tell Godzilla from the 80s and 90s by seeing his gigantic thunder thighs. This makes legendary Godzilla look like a fucking trim and fit distance runner. He just, everything he ate went straight to the thighs. Yeah, you like Godzillas, don't you? You like Godzillas. Ow! Ow! Destroyer! You can always tell Destroyer by his weird Vazoon in his chest that he's got. It's kind of disturbing. Don't have a Destroyer figure, but I picked this up at G-Fest and I was glad to do it. His wings come out so he can look like Diablo, like he should. He really fucking looks like Diablo. Destroyer, one of my favorite villains in the Godzilla series, just because he's such a fucking tough-ass son of a bitch. I like that the wings can do that. It's one of the few, like, very basic vinyl figures that you can just manipulate a bit more. Especially with, you know, kind of superfluous appendages. Destroyer also has his stumpy little arms. I don't even think you can move these now. His jaw doesn't move either, but hey, it's Destroyer, so you gotta love him. Oh god, look at his feet. Those are terrible. Here we have an early Millennium Godzilla figure. I believe this is from Godzilla 2000. He's got the weird purple spines, which only happens in one of the movies, I believe, where they kind of glow that way. You know, not much to say about this guy, but he has a nice curvature to his tail. The spike design on the back looks actually pretty good, all things considered. Here we have Godzilla when he spilt a whole bunch of spaghetti and Kool-Aid on himself. This is the burning version of Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyer. This is again by the MonsterArt line from Namco. You can see a lot of stuff in his tail design. The dorsal spikes go all the way down. You can see that almost every individual part of the tail can be moved and manipulated. So I can go into a variety of poses. Not a fan about how the burning spines just kind of end like that. I know this is where the tail connects, and that's kind of what they decided to do. He looks super fucking pissed. Fuck yeah! Jet Jagger! He's a bank. Holy shit, he's the protector of all children and money. Very, very rare to see a Jet Jaguar figure anywhere. In different scales, I've never seen him. But I saw this, I believe, at MomoCon. Had to get him. Oh my god, he almost fell. Not to worry. He's very basic plastic. Jet Jaguar is just kind of doing the thing he always does. Kind of falling down and being a goof. He's a bank, but whatever. He's fucking cool. Yeah, I gotta give Ghidorah some love. Much like the Destroya figure, you can kind of move around Ghidorah's wings there, and that's basically it. It's a nice little Ghidorah figure. I believe I got this at Jungle, the store in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles, that I picked up a few Godzilla figures at when me and Wooly went to go hang with the gaming groups dudes. Anyway, his face design, not sort of great, not a lot of detail there, but it looks okay, it looks okay. Oh shit, it's Kiryu! One of my favorite Mecha Godzilla designs. Very basic, doesn't have a lot. He's kind of made of a squishy sort of plastic, so he's basically hollow, but he looks so fucking cool. One of my favorites in all of Godzilla franchise. Just every surface of him, just over-designed. He's got these awesome fucking shoulder missile-like guns. You can't really do much with him, but it doesn't matter because he looks so fucking cool. Okay. Not particularly proud of this guy. He's not very good. Not really compared to stuff we've seen before. I'm not even sure if this is official. What the fuck is up with his mouth? They didn't even try with his mouth. They should have tried much harder with his mouth. His head is overly large. It should taper off and get smaller, not bigger. Everything about this is just not super great. But I was glad to get him anyway. Weeble, you did a bad job with this figure, man. Okay, we're going up in scale a little bit. We're reaching the 10 inchers. Anyway, this is another Kiryu that I believe is from a line called Godzilla Vinyl Wars. It might actually predate that a little bit. But, you know, we already looked at another Kiryu figure, but that was kind of the special super powered up version. Still really, really love Kiryu. He's fucking awesome. Another awesome GMK. I got this at the store I mentioned earlier, Jungle in LA. Again, at the time, there was almost no GMK Godzillas in my collection. I know some of you are probably like, I still don't see the differences, but it's like a car, okay? I don't understand the differences between many, many cars, but there are subtle and many sexy differences between all of these. So shut up! Okay, this is kind of an odd one. This is a, if you can tell by now, a Millennium Godzilla from that particular series. But I noticed that they just gave him these burning bright spines, and that's kind of cool. And then they just kind of stopped in this one spot. These are kind of made out of a translucent plastic, but these are just painted, so it's kind of an odd figure in that way. I've never seen anything quite like this. Usually I'll get something if it's unique in some way. He looks a little goofy here. That eye color is not correct, but you know, what are you gonna do? Ugh. Yeah, no, King Caesar is awesome. So here's King Caesar. One of my favorite, dumbest kaiju. Barely able to stand on his own. Can't really understand how to make his legs work. He is a difficult to maintain kaiju. He's a weird lion god, and he kind of does martial arts and shit, sort of. He's kind of got this weird tail coming out of his asshole. You know, he's trying at least. You know, you let him try. Oh. Have to get at least a decent sized Muto because I think they're cool creatures. They might not particularly feel like they belong in the Godzilla franchise, but I still think they have a neat design. I like how there's two variants on them, the male and the female. This one you can move it about, you can kind of move its legs around. Not a whole lot of detail in these things, and like I said, Japan didn't really make a whole lot of these guys. Let's see if he can fly though. he cannot. Oh, another awesome King Ghidorah. Big Godzilla ripped him in half. Okay, what we got here? We got Godzilla from Godzilla Tokyo SOS. This is a very specific design, and you can tell it's Godzilla from Tokyo SOS because of this distinctive kind of wound he has on his chest. He got it from a previous movie. So if you ever see this particular Godzilla, yeah, he got fucked up by Mecha-Godzilla a little bit. This is from X Plus's vinyls, and if that doesn't mean anything to you, it's probably because it doesn't. X Plus are kind of the most mainstream but still high-end collectibles for Godzilla. Whenever you pop these out of the boxes, you actually have to do a little bit of maintenance. You have to twist and kind of heat these tails so that they fit into the figure. You kind of have to screw them in there. It's kind of a trying process in which to do so. You can see, unlike that other shitty knockoff, they go all the way. They deep throat this Godzilla to make sure to give you as much detail as possible into the mouth. All of those little grooves and spines and scales look like suit accurate to the movies. His dorsal fins look great. These are statues, though. If you care about articulation at all, you're not getting anything with these. These are baked-in poses, but I still think they're really, really awesome. Oh, that... If you see a face like this, you know this is early Godzilla, specifically 1954. This is another X Plus vinyl Godzilla. And the neat thing about these is that they didn't really take a romanticized view of what Godzilla looks like. They were actually trying to replicate what the suits look like, including embarrassing weird rubber folds in knees and other certain joints. They were trying to replicate what the suits looked like in the movie. And I think that's actually a really cool feature. You can see the twisted sort of rubber that would happen during a lot of movie production, where it's just the actor trying to stretch his arms, and it obviously doesn't fit him really right. So I think in terms of accuracy, that's really, really awesome. What a neat thing to kind of, a neat angle in which to sort of take the figure in. This, I think, is another Final Wars Godzilla. This is nearing about the 10-inch range. A basic plastic figure. Not much going on with this guy. He's one of the earliest that I collected, along with the Kiryu from Godzilla vs. Tokyo SOS. This goes in the same kind of line as that guy. So they're about the same sort of price, same sort of scale. Yeah, look at this stupid goober. Aw, yeah. 60s, 70s Godzilla and his little cute pop belly are super awesome. So another X Plus here, but it's in this awesome little like dumb pose where he's constantly getting hype. And like I said before, this was trying to go for more of a like suit accurate to the movie and not try to make an idealized, unattainable form that other kaijus couldn't even hope to get. Don't do drugs, kids. Oh, it's Godzilla Jr., kind of. People have probably seen, don't really care about pop shout figures that much. But I do enjoy this little cute Godzilla because it actually, they did some different things. I kind of get tired of how pop figures all look the same. But this guy is actually quite larger than most. He's like of that Diablo Wampa scale that they have. And I think it's a cute interpretation of the character. It kind of works for Godzilla, I think. He looks a little adorable, but also these cold, black, dead eyes. I don't know. Anyway, a really, really good friend of mine, you know who you are, gave this to me as a gift. Really, really appreciative, because I didn't even know that this was coming out at the time. So, really, really happy to have this. He's a cute guy. I don't mind him too much. And the cats love him. Oh shit, it's Final Wars Gigan. I was never a huge, huge fan of the original Gigan, but Final Wars Gigan is a fucking badass motherfucker. Even though he gets killed super easily in every fight he's ever had. But look how cool he is! He's got a stupid buzzsaw on his chest. He's got the stupid, harpoon arms. He doesn't quite have the chainsaws yet, though. But I got this at G-Fest. This is actually really, really detailed figure, and it didn't cost that much either. A lot of detail in his plate armor and his tail. The only thing I wish is that there was a ripcord in the back, and this could be an actual saw. The kids would love that shit. Every kid would love playing with Gigan if he could be their chainsaw buddy. Alright, so, you know, I'm going to do a little play here where I have...
stuff on the table?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
No, what is that?
No, it's nothing. Just, oh. Oh, what could this monster be? I've never seen anything like it. 4 legs, I don't... Oh, shit, it's Kaiser Ghidorah. Wow, I was blown away when I saw this at G-Fest. I didn't even know that they made a figure of this very, very rare version of Ghidorah. He only appears in Final Wars like this for only like a scene or two. He's basically under the other sort of, you know, monster persona he has in that movie, which is simply Monster X. But in this, I couldn't believe. Ghidorah, as you guys probably have seen already, does not have 4 legs. He's only basically 2-legged lumbering idiot. And this guy is just... He just looks so fucking cool. I love he is kind of almost destroyed. He's black and gold. He has clear, like, scary red eyes. Really, really happy that I was able to pick this up. It was not inexpensive. I had to haggle the guy down a little bit to get a price that I was happy with. And one part that sucks about him is that you can't move his wings up and down. They're kind of just basically plastic sheets that kind of get inserted into a slot there. You do get these nice little tails. That's a cool feature. They move around a little bit. You have this weird little butt dick thing coming out of his butt dick. I don't really know what that is. I never really noticed it in the movie. But, you know, this serves my purposes well. Which is to masturbate to, you know, kaiju figures. Alright, we are winding down my collection with something I was really happy to get, which is Shin Godzilla. Got this at G-Fest, and I almost knocked these out of kids' hands that were able to get there ahead of me. I really, really wanted a Shin Godzilla figure, and I'm glad I was able to at least pick this one up. Bandai just put this out like about a month ago, so I really wanted one bad because you can get a really good look at his design. So you can see that he has that burning sort of almost molten lava look where he's kind of cooled down on the outside, but inside he's just burning with fucking rage. And you can see a very, again, unique dorsal fin design you haven't quite seen everywhere else. It kind of looks like, you know, those prickers that are in bushes and stuff. You can see it's like kind of fire lighting up like it's rivers of lava on his back almost. That's awesome. I was able to see this little like kind of detail on his tail that kind of has small little spikies, and they kind of get a bit bigger, looking almost very dinosaur-like, and then all the way to the end of the tail with this weird little lava-ish tail. You're also able to see that he has actually a unique foot design that hasn't been in any other Godzilla. And I like the amount of folds that he has. Like, again, it's like, you know, sort of cooled down lava or something. Or he just doesn't work out at the gym. I like his feet actually quite a bit. They're different than any other Godzilla. They're almost kind of predatory or something. It like reminds me of another type of animal. You don't really see in a Godzilla that often. Yeah, he's got his weird little stumpy arms. He can't masturbate for nothing. He's never going to reach down there. His cool, burning, like almost, you know, rib cage-like chest. He's got that weird protrusion. Never really understood what that's about. You can kind of see they got that weird eyeball thing going on right there. I kind of wish they'd keep his eyes just, you know, milky white. You can see it's almost like he's a burn victim. Like, he's got all these kind of pustules and kind of weird little, like, growths on his head. Oh, God. I really have grown to really like this design. I wouldn't want every Godzilla going forward ever to look like this, but he really is kind of scary and disturbing when you look at him. So, really, really happy to get it. And he wasn't that expensive. He was like about like $25 I was able to get it at one of the stores. If you're interested in getting this guy, you can probably eBay them for about the same price, I think. Really glad I was able to make this video and include this guy, because I was going to do this like quite a while ago. I'm finally glad I was able to add like the newest version of Godzilla into my collection. Yeah, welcome home, Shin Goji. Thanks, Matt. So I've been talking a lot about the GMK Godzilla. I even have it on in the background there, but that's fine. This is kind of my favorite GMK figure I have. I'm not sure if it's from X Plus, actually. I think it might be. But I got this really, really recently. And happy that it finally came in. I was waiting a long, long time. God, he's such a fucking awesome looking design. And again, a lot of detail. He is more or less a statue. Has no articulation. But that lack of articulation, he makes up for. Bam! Yeah. That is so fucking cool. So he lights up in the back dorsal fins right there. There's a little switch and a little battery pack. So as long as that's hidden, it's fine. Really, really glad I was able to get at least one figure in here to add in that has this feature, just because the glowing dorsal fins are such now a synonymous thing with Godzilla, especially GMK Godzilla, who's always kind of throwing that fucking energy around like it's going out of style. Okay. One more legendary Godzilla for the road. This is the X Plus version of Legendary's Godzilla, and it is the most detailed thing I think I have. It has so many little tiny features. They sculpted the everlasting fuck out of this guy, and he looks great from every single angle I could possibly shoot him from. He is, again, a statue. He's kind of in this pose. But, you know, it's pretty much, you know, the standard sort of Godzilla pose. You're just kind of standing there roaring, saying, why? Why does it have to be this way? And I flipped out when this came in the mail a few months back. Just awesome to have a legendary Godzilla of this scale, this amount of detail. Because up until this point, there wasn't really one like that. You know, it was the smaller stuff that we looked at before that was the most common version you can get of Legendary's Godzilla. Just it looks. Sorry, I'm just kind of making creepy noises, but that's what happens when you got stuff you love. Oh, he looks fucking awesome. Thanks, Godzilla. You are the friend to all children, and you got me through elementary and high school. And college and my wedding. So that's all the Godzillas I have, except I have even more up there!